started with his first research project already back in the early 80s.
That's in the front.
I have enough experiences here with where can I put this thing?
And that's about the very interesting topic, financial regulation of community currencies in Europe.
Thank you all for your introduction. Sorry, I do have 20 minutes. I think it is a very complicated topic. Regulation, financial regulation. So what our banking supervisors are doing, like FSA in UK, like BaFins in Germany, and other. Already heard another presentation from you about some legal problems in Hungary to the Franca. Franca, this note. So I think it is a very hot topic at the moment. We are working as consultancy for a lot of complementary currencies based on the definition that it is not the legal tender, but most of them are professional, profit-orientated complementary currencies. No, not based on your definition, but we are also working for complementary currencies based on the usual definition which were practiced here. But it's also still a problem. What is a complementary currency? I think that's very important. Otherwise, if you want to regulate them, you have to know what are these complementary currencies. So you need a sound definition, and that is, I think, a problem when you're starting about thinking about complementary currencies. We have a lot of, for example, the expression e-money. It is a legal definition here in Europe, and my focus is here the European legislation and the European regulation. For example, sell money, mutual exchanges. What is a mutual exchanges? For example, the beer system is not a mutual exchange. So there are a lot of confusion in regional money. Most of the regional money has nothing to do with the region, but is straight local money and not the regional money. But even the regulators do have serious problems with, for example, the virtual currency versus the e-money. If you're reading this ECB publication of October last year, they do have real problems to make differentiation between both, although both are very strict and clear defined. Who are the financial regulators? I think that is clear. That is the entities who are steering and overseeing the monetary system. It could be the central bank, in a lot of countries it is the central bank, or other banking supervisory authority. They have to do with the complementary currencies because it is most of them, for example, are you going cashless? So not cash-based, but cashless complementary currencies. You have to do with banks and with banking laws. So we have to look here, when we are thinking about complementary currencies, we have to look through the glasses of a regulator. And they are using the legal and the economic market typology. They are looking to complementary currency from an economic point of view and a legal point of view. And both are more or less the same. And not from the social point of view or other components. The other thing which is very important is to look to the technical aspect. because regulating different kind of monies, for example, if you look into e-money or digital money, two different things from a legal point of view, you have to look to the technical performance. For example, is it account-based? Is it not account-based? Very important in European regulation. You can also ask, why do we use the expression currency? Currency usually is something like legal tender. So you consider the better definition is complementary money and not the complementary currency, but we are used to it, so we can stay with it. What does it mean, complementary? It's also very difficult. Is it substituting, replacing legal tender, or is it something additional? I think that's also very important for a regulator to see. I think if you're looking for a minimal consensus what a complementary currency, and I think that's important for a regulator, must be used as a payment instrument. Would not be a unit of account, but a payment instrument. I think that is the core function of money. If it is not a payment instrument, it's not money. I think that is a common understanding. It should be accepted by more than one entity. For example, a voucher that you only pay with it at one store, it's not money. It's not from a legal point of view, not from an economic point of view. So you should have more acceptance points, otherwise it is not money. And it could not be the issuer. It is not legal tender, of course, otherwise it would not complementary currency. It should be some limited acceptance or some other limitations of usage. Otherwise it's very difficult to see the marking line between a traditional currency. And if it is cash-based, you should have some visual appearance different from legal tender. Otherwise you are copying the euro banknotes and it's not a complementary currency. If you are going cashless, it's more complicated. If you're going cashless, you don't see something. So you have to look to a unit of account, or could be the unit of account also the euro or the dollar. Is it also complementary currency? I think that's are important questions, especially when you're going cashless. Is it crucial or not? And I was at the presentation of Jeremy Blank. He was also looking from a theoretical point of view. Is the unit of account, is this crucial? Or could it be for example, if you're going cashless, a unit of account using the euro? If it is a fantasy unit, is the exchange rate important? If you are using a fancy unit, but it is exactly the same as the euro, you can also say the euro trade. It would make no difference. So I think that is also important. We will see it later with the e-money regulation in Europe. Is the issuer, who is the issuer? It could be even the central bank. If a central bank is issuing the second currency, it's also a complementary currency. Why not? From an economic point of view. Is it a closed loop or an open loop? And we already discussed this item in another presentation. Closed loop or inside money, outside money. I will take the economic definition. So if it is a closed loop, it is close to compared to the traditional legal tender. There's no connection, no inflow, no outflow. So it is really a strictly closed loop. And that is important also for regulation. If it is strictly closed loop, it is not regulated. But if you have some inflow or outflow, then it could be subject to the scope of financial regulation. If cashless, could be part of the ecosystem of the banks or of the central bank. For example, are you integrated in the whole interbank clearing, yes or no? If your account, or is it separated from it? Also an important thing. And do they have their own rules and pricing? The whole diverge topic here come in, or interest or no interest, or anti-interest, or negative interest, or price regulation. For example, if you're using another unit, like time banks or time-based units. Is it crucial or not? It is for a complementary currency. It is good to maybe discuss it. If you're looking through some examples, I think the beer system in Switzerland is undoubtedly, it is complementary currency. I think we all agree. But if you're looking to this system, it is cashless, it is account-based, they are using a unit of account exactly the same as the Swiss franc from the value. It is a closed loop, strictly closed loop. There's no inflow, no outflow. It is fiat money issued by the beer system, like a central bank. It is a central bank in a closed system. It has nothing to do with mutual exchange. There's no different, the participants are not granting credit to each other. There is a central bank that is in the system granting credit to the other person. So it is, I think, a very basic difference to barter systems. It is supervised by the Swiss Central Bank, so it is part of the ecosystem. It is regulated since the beginning. There's no baggage, strictly closed loop. It is independent from the base money. So the base money is the money which is part of it, which is 100% monopolized of the central bank. It is legal tender and deposits at the central bank. That's the base money. You have low interest, no demurrage. So if you're looking to this classification, is it still complementary currency, and why? If you are looking to another, for example, sell money in Africa, the organizer of this conference says it is complementary currency. I doubt. Maybe, I don't know, depending on the definition. And therefore, you see, definition is very important. For example, you, John, you are citing this sell money, and you say, okay, it's our private units, airtime. But if you're looking to the systems, for example, if you're looking to the systems in Kenya, it's already been discussed and also in other presentation. For example, in M-Pesa, it are not digital tokens stored in a phone. It's account-based. You have an account at Safaricom, and this account-based is in the legal tender currency, not in airtime. It is the legal tender currency. So you have an account not at a bank, but at a telephone company. Is that complementary currency? Why? It is restricted. Of course, you can only use this kind. This kind of money. For example, most of the transactions are money transmittance. So it is not. It is starting now as a payment instrument. You can pay some electricity bills. You can pay other things. It is very limited acceptance, but it is from the beginning. It is a way to put cash from one side to another side. Its denomination of the accounts is national currency. It's 100% backed. The telephone company has to pay the receipt of the funds in national currency to the central bank or to another bank. So it's 100% backed by the national currency. And if you will use this kind of money in Europe, this e-money, so it's regulated. So is every e-money in Europe is a complementary currency? That would be the conclusion. Or why is this kind of money complementary currency? I don't know. It's depending on the definition. So what could be crucial is to issue a non-bank. But for example, if you are using the M-Pesa in South Africa, you need a bank license because they are very similar to the Anglo-American regulation. So is it a limited acceptance? Is that the criteria? You see there are a lot of questions which are relevant if you're looking for regulation. What is different to a traditional bank account? For example, a bank would offer this kind of system, and you can use your bank account to make money transmitters from A to B. Then it is no complementary currency. So is it a telco versus a bank? Is the denomination essential? National currency? I think that is important. If you are using really another currency, but if it is 100% equal, 1-to-1, then it is only a form of it. Then it have no relevance. And should all the e-money, if it is prepaid and account-based, is it all complementary currency? Then you have a lot of complementary currency in Europe and all over the world. So I think you have to have a closer look to this kind of, and if you are looking to the basics of monetary control I think in almost all the monetary orders all over the world, you do see one principle. We see this base money, and that is the, so you can also say outside money, the economists would say outside money or base money. It's 100% controlled by the central bank. There is the monopoly. And that is, of course, the cash, legal tender, and the central bank deposits. And then you will have the deposits which could be created by banks, but they are depending, the inside money is depending on the outside money. That's the whole principle of our financial or monetary regulation, monetary steering of the monetary volume. If this is all the money, in one country. You see, this is this monopoly, so it is not necessary to monopolize the whole monetary volume in a country, but based on this concept, the inside money is depending on the outside money, and there are three reasons, or three main reasons. There is a demand for cash by non-banks. So the creations, they are dependent on the legal tender. Every bank is dependent on the legal tender, on the cash volume. They do have minimal reserve requirements. Also, the requirements to have accounts at the central bank. And there's of course a demand for central bank money in the interbank clearing, because that's the last remaining money with the highest liquidity. So that are the reasons why this model is working well or not well, but it is the basics of our financial regulation. And if you then now we see in Europe, since 2002 and 2011, two new kids on the block that are the payment institutions and the e-money institutions. So there are two, in addition to the commercial banks, to the credit institutions. And these are important because these are new, where you can have payment accounts, so you can have a payment account at a bank, but also at a payment institution or at a electronic money institution. And so they are taken into, and they are forced to be part of this monetary control pyramid. And they are saying, okay, we can not only have deposits, that was the traditional money, but we have also these payment accounts at the e-money institution, payment institution. I think that's important because it's a good way for complementary currencies to fit in this regulatory model for the banks and also for payment institutions and e-money institutions. But these kind of payment accounts are restricted. They are not full current accounts like within a bank. They are not part of the clearing system, for example. It's not allowed to pay interest on these accounts. I think most of the complementary currency supporters would like this restriction. You have not the possibility as a payment account, or very less possibility to grant credits. So you can only doing this account-based business to make payment accounts, or to offer payment accounts to people who want to use these accounts for payments. And I think that is a good opportunity for commercial, for complementary currencies to fit in. So if you are looking to the complementary currencies, if you are making a complementary currency here, beside the 100% monopoly, if you are issuing legal tender, you have a problem, because you are directly attack the 100% monopoly of the central bank. And but if you are going cashless, you can be integrated in this structure, because the banks and the credit institution, also the electronic money institution and the payment institution could offer accounts, and they could create their balances by themselves. It is allowed. It's totally legal. So if you are fitting in, you are going in this part of the pyramid, you don't have, or you have less legal problems comparing if you are issued here. That is dangerous, because you are attacking the central bank monopoly. Essential criteria for the complementary currencies: is it economic importance? You could have a waiver. So you can have a waiver if the economic importance is not relevant. But then you have a conflict. If you want to issue a complementary currency, you like to have economic importance or relevance. Otherwise, why are you doing it? So, and of course, otherwise, and that is a part of the regulation, each e-money and each account at the payment institution must be redeemable in central bank money. Otherwise, there will be no connection between the upper part and the lower part. They want to have this dependence. So if you are issuing e-money, you must have, these accounts must be redeemable in central bank money. Otherwise, you are not allowed to do this. And that is, of course, to control this kind of money. You can also ask, why are we not, that are the two why is the regulation of the creation of money being controlled and regulated? If you are looking to the mainstream economics, they are saying, okay, it will be sufficiently to have this pyramid, because there is a dependence between inside money and outside money. But if you are looking to the monetary reformers, one of the monetary reformers are saying, okay, all the money should be outside money, 100% controlled by the state or central bank or another monopoly. And that is the 100% money. And the other totally opposite position is of Hayek, to the denationalization of the privatization of money. All the money should be inside money. So we have no outside money. And all the money is inside. In both concepts, you don't have complementary currencies anymore. Because if you have 100% inside money, all the money is complementary currency. So the complementary, you have only currency, different kind of currencies. And if you have 100% outside money, I think they don't allow to issue complementary currency, because that is exactly against the concept. So let us go to the different kind of money, and now it is important to look to the technical performance. Is it this cash? And cash is here a bearer instrument. You must have it in the possession of the cash holder. You can put it in your pocket or anywhere. It must be something material. It could be plastic. It could be wooden strip. It could be paper, coins. It must be something physical. Otherwise, it is not cash. Then you have the scriptural money, and based on this definition is only looking to the glasses of the regulator. If it is scriptural money, it is account-based. And account-based is something at a central place. You do have an account somewhere. It is not in your pocket account, but it is on some central place. It could be a bank. It could be a Bristol Pound center. Somewhere you do have the account, or you do have digital money. And then you have real digital money. You do have bits and bytes, but still in the possession of the holder. So you have your bits and bytes on your PC. You have your bits and bytes on a chip card. Then you are talking about digital money. And for these three kinds of money, you also have different regulations. But Rolf, you're also really looking to the. So I will go very. If you are going to cash, you are. It is difficult, but shall I concentrate on cash or on cashless? Cashless. Okay. Because cash, it is a gray zone, and if you're looking to the legislation, there is a report of the Central Bank, the European Central Bank of 1999, about fancy banknotes. And I think if you're looking to this, and also to the, you can. I think the conclusion of cash, it is depending on national law. And national law in Europe has to protect the European Central Bank or their own central bank, if they're not in the Eurozone. So the national, and we see it in Hungary, the national laws are here important. And the national laws are different. For example, Germany is very strictly, France too, and other countries are more or less liberal. That is the conclusion for cash. If you're going to other, if you're going to scriptural money, we see the credit institution, the e-money institution, the payment institution, and they can offer some restricted payment accounts, which are not current accounts, but restricted. What important is they should be redeemable in legal tender. So the other entities, and there we are coming into complementary currencies without regulation, can offer a really closed loop system without inflow, without outflow to the euro or other currencies. Or you have the possibility to have a wavered e-money. And wavered e-money is if there are limited, so-called limited networks, and that's also based on the e-money directive of the European Union. So if you have a e-money which is limited, and it could be limited network, a limited network, for example, a limited geography. For example, if you're issuing e-money on a campus of a university, It is waived from the regulation, so you can do it without any regulation. Or you have a limited range of goods and services. For example, if you are offering a gift card only for papers, or journals, and newspapers. So that is at the moment this different interpretation. For example, Germany is very strictly. For example, if you are offering a gift card, which can be used at the same chain, but they are all franchise takers in this chain. But you have one brand, it is already e-money. You need an e-money license to issue this kind of gift cards. If you're going to Belgium, this card is without regulation. So it is also here depending on the national interpretation of the e-money directive. You will see this here, the second Payment Services Directive. The European Commission want to pick up this topic because they see all these different interpretations of the waived limited networks. E-money could be waived in Germany, but not in France, and that is not what the European Commission wants. Let me at least come to digital money, and there we have the I think that's also important. What is e-money? What is digital money? Digital money must be a bearer instrument. You must put it in your pocket or on your card, but the money is stored as bits and bytes somewhere in a car. It could be in your pocket, it could be on your laptop or in your phone. But the money is there. It's not an account at the telco, but it is in your pocket. And if you lose this pocket or it is damaged, you lose your money. That is very important. So we see two different kinds of e-money based for a regulatory point of view. It could be account-based or it could be token-based. Both are part of the regulation. And e-money, and I think that is very difficult definition of e-money. What's e-money? What's not e-money? Even for a regulator. But if it is prepaid, then it is e-money. If it is not prepaid, so there is no inflow of money, it is not e-money. It could be, for example, the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not prepaid. It's not offered by an issuer who is issuing Bitcoins. And they are saying, okay, you can pay me euros. It is tradable, but it is not issued against a legal tender, and therefore it is not e-money, and therefore we have until now no regulation. So e-money is regulated, e-money is prepaid, e-money is regulated, e-money could be account-based, and most of the e-money we see in Europe is account-based. It is not, we see some chip cards with still for low value payments, but they are very low volume and is not no economic importance. So let me come to my conclusion. If you're looking to complementary currency, and I think it is also relevant for cash or for cashless complementary currencies, if you have no or minimal economic relevance, and where is the 0.1% of the monetary volume in a country, is that, and I think most of the complementary currencies are below it. If you are looking to the greatest complementary currency system, the beer system in Switzerland it's 0.2% of the whole Swiss monetary volume. So does it have economic relevance? Most of them have very limited payment and functionality and acceptance, and there is no or less regulation. If you are issuing cash, it is tolerated. It is against the law in most of the European countries, but it is tolerated because there is no economic relevance. And the prosecutors, they don't see it. Or they see it and they say, okay, nice things, funny things, but no economic relevance. If you believe in homeopathic economics, and some of you are doing this, you could do this, but a very small volume of money could be healthy for an economy. If you are believing this, okay, then both are happy. Regulators are happy because they are saying no economic relevance, and you are believing in economic relevance, and both are happy. I think that's at the moment. Others who are looking to a complementary currency with the goal to have economic importance, they are not happy. And there must be regulation, and so if there could be economic relevance, And I think you must go in cashless if you want to have economic relevance. With cash alone in today's digital world, I think you should be cashless too. And then you have to cooperate with specialized financial institutions, for example, with e-money institutions or payment institutions, or even with banks, like the Clean Power, for example, in Bavaria is doing. You can set up your own electronic money institution. It's also a possibility, and to be regulated. Of course, some of people say, okay, we want to get rid of it. But I have also some benefits. For example, you are legal authorized, more trusted by users. The funds who are paid in are trusted. And we will already have some experiences with complementary currencies where the funds who are paid in are used by the initiatives for other things. So it's also have some benefits. So regulation is not per definition a problem. Thank you very much.
There are many questions coming up, but with regard to the presentation number 4, which I apologize for the inconvenience, came a little bit of a surprise to me. I would say we have time for presentations past 6 o'clock, and now listen to you.
Yeah.